Bringing it strong on a Friday.
Closing it out strong. It's July 16th, the year 2021. Welcome aboard. We are the Crushing Iron Podcast, and this is episode 495.
Yeah, it is, buddy. Good job out of you.
Same to you, man. We've had quite a few requests to do our 500th podcast in Delaware or Columbus, Ohio next week at the race, and I'm more than fine doing 4 10-minute podcasts and having those roll out, but I don't know if I can handle another live podcast right now. I felt like it was a lot of pressure.
It was, man. But
we had an audience.
You know how that is. You step out of your comfort zone, and that's when you get better.
That's when you say. Actually, it was a lot of fun. We did.
But I'm telling you, yeah, we did that.
It was 300. Yeah, we did a 300 podcast last year at Ironman Wisconsin. No, 2 years ago at
That's
Ironman
when I was
Wisconsin.
racing.
Yep, you were racing.
That's a little stressful.
Yeah, I can imagine. Especially when you're the center of attention. You have to race. You have the podcast. You have to do 538 selfies a day. You got to peruse. You got to take. Yeah, we rented the ballroom out. We did. It was fun though. It was great to meet a lot of people. I thought the podcast was pretty good as well. We had a lot of fun doing it. Recorded.
Yeah, we were joined by Jessica.
Jessica Jacobs was on there, and we had a good day. Wisconsin was a good day. It was a great day to spectate and a beautiful day. Hope you're having a great week. Again, this is Crushing Iron Podcast, episode 495. If it's your first time tuning in, welcome. We appreciate you giving us your time. We have a lot of options in the Triathlon podcast universe, world universe, galaxy, and just podcast in general. So we appreciate you giving us a shot. We cover it all. We cover swim, bike, run, specific training. We do race recaps. We do race previews. We'll have on about one guest every 294 episodes. But for the most part, Mike and I just sit back, relax, have an open, honest discussion about what we're going through, what our athletes are going through. We both work with, both been coaching for a very long time, both been competing for a long time, and we work with athletes all over the world. And so we'll use kind of either what we're going through, sometimes the vibe, and some of the successes or even some of the pitfalls some of our athletes go through as a topic for discussion today. Sometimes we'll hop into our Facebook group, which is Crushing Iron Group. If you want to be a part of that, you can answer one simple question. We'll let you right in. A lot of awesome people in there. A lot of really good conversation too. It's always fun to kind of go back and look through at the week. I don't pop in probably near as much as I should, and I know you don't either. But it's monitored by the tribe, I feel like, and they kind of do a great job of answering questions. A lot of success stories in there. Everyone from beginners and people who haven't even raced before to Ironman champions. Everyone in between. So great conversation, great lively group, and an overall, I would say, positive environment. So sometimes we'll use that. We'll even let them list out questions, and we'll get to them, most of them, sometimes all of them, sometimes 3 of them, as much as we can, unless we get derailed. But that's it. We're not professionals. We're not experts. We're just like you. We're going through this. We're trying to get better each and every day. We're still trying to find we're trying to find not the end, but just trying to keep going, trying to figure out how much better we can.
We're trying to find the end.
We're not trying to find the end. We're trying to find how much better we can be. We're not getting any younger, but we both, I think intrinsically, both still feel like we have our best races in front of us. And so we'll see. But yeah, we hope you sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast that is 495. And follow us on Instagram, C26_triathlon. I was going to forget that one.
Yeah. Don't forget the underscore. No, you don't need the underscore, probably.
No, you don't?
Nah, you can search Crushing Iron or whatever. You'll find us.
That's specific.
I want to give a quick shout out to Steve Moss. I don't know if you saw his video that he made from camp.
I saw it come up last night.
It premiered live last night on YouTube television. No, it wasn't TV.
It's 30 minutes long. I was gonna watch on my phone and just realized I don't have that in my
bandwidth.
Yeah, I don't have the bandwidth for that. So I want to watch it from my laptop and give it the credit and the attention that I know it deserves, and the attention that he put into it. I've already heard it's an amazing watch.
No, it's great. It's 30 minutes. He basically did an expose, he sort of on our camp in Nashville, and he tracked it day by day, and he was very open and honest about his progression through the camp, and it was cool. Some really good shots. I'm glad he gave them to me, and I'm going to be able to use them in the future, hopefully, because some beautiful footage and some very open and honest dialogue from him. So great job on that, and we appreciate it. So maybe with his permission, we'll put it into the group or.
I think you already put it in there. I saw him post it.
Maybe with our permission, he'll ask if he can put. No,
he did an amazing job. The feedback I got from it already, because people asked if I watched it, and it was that it's really truly is nice. I think, and again, I haven't watched it yet, but listen, anytime somebody can be real and raw and vulnerable, we just need a lot more of that on this planet, honestly, in general these days, is for people to be honest. And I think we all get kind of caught up in pretending and acting like things are fine, or that we're not nervous and we're not, or overly excited or worried about, this and that. But the truth is, most people go through all those feelings over the course of a day. But we're all pretty much, starting to get wired towards everything has to look and feel and at least pretend to be great and in line and going well.
I know, man.
Which I'll be honest, that's you caught me off guard today.
I did.
Yeah. So one of our athletes is in town from Baltimore, Matt Clark. He was doing a hub visit, and we went to the lake this morning because the endless pool is still out of commission. Although the part was just received, so we're hoping Alex, if you hear us,
if you're listening, Alex,
get your ass in here.
Or Chris, if you're listening, and it, Alex, tell him.
Yeah, tell him to come in here. But no, it's he was in here, and he asked how you were feeling about Chattanooga, and you said for very few times do I hear you seem less than confident. You're very, I wouldn't say you're overconfident. I would just say you're incredibly secure is how I would probably phrase that in your training and your ability to, like you said, just, riff off a 13-minute 5K at your own, out of a whim. No, he doesn't say that. But when it comes to long distance stuff, you have that mentality of I can get it done. And today I sensed I feel like I heard a negative comment come out of your mouth about your running to Matt. Was that true or false?
Could have been. What was it again?
I think he asked how I was thinking. He asked you how your running's going. I said, I'm not really sure about my running right now.
I'm not, but
and I don't ever hear you kind of. Usually it's like, I feel.
I'm not sure about anything right now, to be honest. But as we said the last couple of podcasts, I feel like I'm in the ballpark. So
you're just trying to get up. You're just trying to get up a few seats.
Yeah, I mean. So
you're doing Ironman Chattanooga. You're doing the run of Ohio 70.3. Rumor has it. As part of a C26 relay. Let me ask you this, because usually you're the one putting me on the spot. Where's your heads at? Where's your body at? We're 8 weeks out from Chattanooga 70.3? I feel like it's 5.
No, I know.
It feels like it's 18, 19. We got plenty of time. How are you feeling?
It felt like it may be in the single digits. I can't remember. I haven't looked.
Single digits.
Is it like 9 weeks maybe?
Yeah, I think it's 8 or 9 weeks, yeah.
It's more than 8.
Okay, 9. So, is that going to change how you feel if it's 9?
Well,
that's triathlon. They're like, I got 9 weeks. I'm good to go. How are you feeling?
Well, I feel all right. I just went to the pool again, and that would have been 4 out of 5 days. I've really got this thing with me about I feel like swimming often. Because it's my weakness. I mean, seriously, I've been cycling almost every Saturday, but that's it. Long riding, and I feel pretty decent on the bike. I always feel pretty decent on the bike. I said I wanted to get some more long rides in because that's usually my Achilles heel, and just get used to the pain of it, and on the saddle and the arms and just the whole thing. The run, I don't know. We'll find out a little more next weekend. And then, but I like to swim a lot to get back in it. And it's just amazing to me, 3-4 days in a row like that, or 4 out of 5 days, how the water does come back into feel for you, and that's the thing. I mean, I'm still way out of swim shape, but I think I can kind of get it back fairly fast. But I don't want to say I'm going to be a great swimmer or anything like that. But today I got in, and it was, like I was telling you, it was my first 500 straight in kind of a long time. I've been kind of doing the 25s, 50s, 100s thing, and I felt really good at the end of it. And then I got a tap on the shoulder, and she's like, sir, we have lightning. And I was like, oh, okay.
Can we get a universal rule on that?
Yeah.
Because it's so inconsistent. Some pools are like, we don't care if it's lightning. The pool's grounded. There's no windows. You're not getting out, common sense.
Yeah.
And then the YMCA is like, well, we have this small, 5 by 5 inch piece of glass on the window. We saw lightning 45 minutes, away. So we're going to get everybody out of the pool. Mm-hmm. Show some consistency with the whole
it's funny.
thing.
I asked her that. I was like, she said, I'm sorry. I said, well, it wasn't your fault. I go, unless this was your idea.
No,
I didn't come up with the rule. But she told me, ironically, that it is because they don't have windows that they have to close it. What? Because she said if it knocks the lights out, then the wet lifeguards can't see people in the pool.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
I don't believe
because she said it was grounded. I go, isn't this grounded? She goes, yeah, it is, but they're more worried about it being dark.
I mean, the power could go out at any time.
This is true. I don't know. I would think they would have a backup generator.
I feel like that's a weak
She doesn't like it. She was mad because she always gets yelled at. She says,
"Of course, I'm sure the older population, no offense, is kind of like, hey, why are we're dealing?" So, anyway, so you're feeling good about the feel for the water. What about the rest?
I mean, as far as swimming,
riding and running.
Oh, I got to tell you, I'm kind of okay with it right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You think you get a 5 or 6 week stretch in you that's going to put you where you need to be?
Yeah, I do. I've been actually doing some longer stuff.
I know. I've been surprised. Like you already had like 2 weeks ago, you had what I would argue is like your longest pre 10-week out Ironman bike. And I don't know, since we started seriously working together 7 years ago. 2
loops of the Ironman. The Wisconsin course is pretty legit. And then I think I told you, I came back here and did like another 60 on my own, and then the next day I ran like almost 2 hours.
Yeah, for you, is a long run and a long ride.
So I'm getting
the longest.
I'm doing exactly kind of what we tell people not to do a lot of times, but I feel, you know how it goes. You feel like you just need a little bit of a charge here and there, and all I can say is I feel like I'm in the ballpark now. Whether or not this thing kind of all comes together, that's going to be another thing. But I do feel like. I don't know. Like you said, I feel pretty confident about it, actually. And my biggest thing is always the hamstrings. If I can figure that out, I think,
be good to go.
Chet and Phil.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that.
You can't wait to watch the Crushing Iron War 2.
It's gonna be Crushing Iron War, with 3 different countries involved. But no, I mean I think this is like June and July are always, because with there's just a ton of races coming up. It's like about to be like full Ironman season, which isn't everybody's, big A race of the year, but there's 70.3s galore. This is that time of year where everyone feels really, 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 not everyone, but a lot of people feel really, really, really confident of pretty far out from a race because they have time on their side. Mm-hmm. Like we always feel like time is always in your corner for the most part until it's not.
Right.
And until things get close. Like I think we even touched on this earlier this week or last week, was that, May and June are kind of like, iffy months in terms of when we get emails from newer athletes. And then late June, July is always when we get a ton of, all right, I thought I had it together and now this has happened and I had this training plan that I haven't been really following since like the day I got it because, I had to take one day off and now it's all skewed. Can you guys help me out? Because the closer people get to a race, things become more, triathletes get a little more sensitive about their ability or their inability to perform where they thought they would be versus where they really are. And then you combine that with the pressure that you have from a race that's coming. You add in the fact that I truly believe January, February, March, April, and even May of this year, a lot of people thought they would kind of get a pass when late season races, because some of the early season races got canceled. They thought, I don't really have to train that hard. I got plenty of time. These races aren't going to happen anyway. And all of a sudden, races are happening. Mm-hmm. And Ironman isn't being very responsive on getting back to your, hey, I think I want to defer this and defer that because of, quote unquote, COVID. And now you're like, well, now I got a race coming up. Now I got to do something. Or you've been training hard and consistently feeling like you're good because I got time. And listen, now when you get to like 6, 7, 8, 10 weeks out, you're like, all right, this is real. Do I really have it together? Am I really on the right track? Am I really feeling like what I'm feeling? Combine that all with what I think is the hardest time of year to train, because the elements are so, not unsafe. They're so unkind to you as an athlete in terms of, you can swim inside, but even if you're a person who like swims in an outdoor pool, those have become significantly harder. The water's warmer. People forget this all the time. You're breathing in the same air that you're breathing when you're running, right? Just because you're not running doesn't mean you're breathing different air. When you're swimming, it's honestly harder. When I was in Florida and Texas breathing outside, I was like, why am I swimming so slow? Oh yeah, because the dew point 76, I basically should be like breathing out of a straw. It's harder. Then you take, outside rides, take a lot harder to recover from. You're doing your long rides out in the heat. You're exposed to the temperature, like to the elements. It's harder. And then obviously like the running is the big thing for people right now. It's like you're getting 90+% humidity no matter where you are. Sometimes people got like 90, 100+ degree heat, all the way out in California. It's like just insane how the weather is right now for a lot of people. And then you add in like the dew point, depending. It's like you can't pick a good time of day to run. You're either going to pick the hottest part of the day with lower humidity, or you're going to pick the early morning with the least amount of heat, but the most humidity and the highest dew point of the day. Like there really is no good way or good time of day to work out right now. It's all going to take you a lot longer to recover. So you take in a lot longer to recover, right? Because the elements, and you add on top of that expectations of a race that's getting closer for what it should be for most people, which is also the highest amount of training. And it leaves you what? Leaves you fatigued, leaves you tired, leaves you a little bit more shelled than you're used to because you're doing harder sessions than normal, longer sessions, which are normal, right? But it's closer to race day, so you're thinking, why am I not feeling like rejuvenated after these races? Why or these workouts? I wasn't feeling this way 2 months ago. I'm feeling all of a sudden I'm feeling more tired. Add on top of that again, for a lot of families with a lot of parents and athletes that have kids, this is an insanely stressful time of year because everything is inconsistent. Kids are out of school. They don't have the luxury of dropping them off from 7 o'clock to 4 o'clock every day. It's a lot harder, I think, than people realize in the summertime to get this kind of training in. And with tiredness and kind of extra levels of fatigue, I think what it also kind of, does is raises your level of uncertainty, right? We all kind of feel like you always hear people and I do this. Like if I'm like Monday of this week, I was like, Hayden was up. I was doing the single parent thing from last Saturday up until yesterday. And he came in the room at like 1 o'clock in the morning, had like an earache that was up for like 2 hours. And one day I was shelled. I was exhausted. And all I could think about was, man, things are like, I can't imagine doing, X, Y, and Z for the rest of the week. I can't imagine doing this. I can't imagine doing this. And I was like, it's going to be a really, really long week. Decided to take the day off, didn't train. We got our stuff done, worked. He went to bed Monday night, slept like a champ. And I woke up Tuesday feeling like a champ, ready to roll again. And I've had like a really smooth, non-stressful, solid week, got a lot of solid training in. But on Monday, because I was tired, all my thoughts were, I can't do this. I can't do that. And I think but that's also when people fall into this trap of making long-term decisions based on being, we use this phrase a lot, just being a prisoner in the moment, right? Something bad happened today. Something bad happened, in my life. Something bad happened. I need to change the rest of my life right now because this is how today feels. When really, it's just today. And you need to recognize why you feel this way. A lot of people, it's also being hungry, right? It's like, I'm really happy. Like, then go eat a sandwich. What was the last time you had someone? I don't know, yesterday at noon. Well, that's probably a reason. Like, and we talk about this a lot, like with athletes that say, like, I had a really bad workout. I just don't know what's going on. Everyone jumps to, I'm not getting any faster. My fitness is getting worse. We don't troubleshoot the things that are obvious in our life. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating right? Are you fueling right? How is outside life stress? Those 4 things are what impact your life more than anything else, way more than the hour and a half you spend on the trainer. It's the other 22 and a half hours of your life where you're either sleeping right or you're not, you're eating right or you're not, you're fueling right or you're not, and life stress is either high or up, or high or it's low. Like those are the things you have to troubleshoot. And so this time of year, when you add on to that, the gap in the margin of error is so small for so many people because it's already hot, which is an added stress, right? You're closer to a race, which is added stress. And you add in all the things like, so your margin of error for being really tired is like, you're just tired and grumpy and that's just how it is. But that also leads people to not being confident because the last thing you remember is probably not your best workout. It's the last 2 where you felt like shelled after running, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and, 100-degree heat. Of course, you're not going to feel strong, right, about your run. You're going to feel like, thank God I just survived.
Right. And people take that very too literal, I think, sometimes. I get, like, if I'm hungry or if I haven't slept and I'm tired or if I worked out and I'm tired, I, shelve all decision-making. I just throw it away. I'm like, I can't do it. Don't respond to an email when you're mad, that kind of thing. Sleep on it and let's see what happens the next day. And I think you really hit on kind of how I approach things. And I've always said it since we started saying this doing this podcast was I just want to feel my best on race day. And that doesn't necessarily mean be in my best shape or any of that kind of stuff, because, you know, I think throughout training, we all do things, you know, you probably had a good, you know, quote unquote, close in the ballpark 70.3 ride 2 months ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why in the hell wouldn't you be in good enough shape to do the race? You know what I mean? Like I feel like when I did Ironman Wisconsin or whatever, I put that in the bank. I'm like, all right, again, I'm in the ballpark. I feel like I know that I can do this. And I just don't want to wake up that morning and feel like totally fatigued or bad mood or tired or whatever. And I think it's easy for me not to do that because most of my races have been on bad sleep. But when I get around the energy, I just can, it's almost like I compartmentalize. It's like, we're going in, we got one day to, you know, like this sucks. It's almost like you have to get up one day and have, you know, a long day of working in the, you know, factory or some shit. You can do it for one day kind of thing. You know, it's going to kind of suck and be harder because your mind is, but you have to flip that switch in some regard. You know, like a couple week and a half ago, I had a really good hour run, solid, kind of like did my loop negative split thing. And like a few days later, I went out and tried to do the same thing. And like 3 miles in, I started getting that weird old sugar hypoglycemic, you know, like
the
light
shakes, baby.
That thing. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to do that hour again. And I'm like, and I ran straight away from there. I went upstairs and ate everything in my damn kitchen.
I go straight for the peanut butter. I'm like, peanut butter pretzels. Like,
it was unbelievable.
In my mouth
like,
right now.
You know, and you know, maybe that starts from too much coffee. There's a whole lot of, you know, variables into why that may happen some days. But I definitely noticed it, and but I just let it go. I didn't, you know, because a few days earlier I felt like great, like I was ready to go, and then 2 days later I have a bad run, or 3 days, or whatever it is. I'm not going to cancel my race. You know what I mean? It's like I don't believe that. I mean, I just shut that off. I don't know if you call that repression or suppression, but it's gone. You know,
you have a short memory. Like
it's like cornerback, right?
Right. It's like, and I think this is like one of the most overrated things when going into a race is to remember the best workouts that you did. Because if you work out, you know, say you train for an entire year, you're only going to have one best workout, right? And the chances of you having your best workout kind of day on race day, I hate to break it to you, are very slim, right? Like people, like I hate when, you know, everyone like puts all their stock behind, like, you know, training peak performances, peak this, peak that, peak this. Like, if you want to put something in your bag to review the night before on race day, I would look at all the work that you put in total, right? Because that's what matters. And then somehow like mark or put like, or set aside the workouts where you've thought to yourself, this is the one where I had to dig deep. I had to fight and claw my way to get out what I wanted to get out from today. Like I did that on Tuesday. I went and ran Tuesday morning on the Greenway, and then about 4 hours later, I hopped on the trainer for a very, very, very tough ride, and I had to fight and claw and work. I mean, I knew when I get on there, I was like, my legs are not going to feel good. And I fought and I clawed to like barely meet the minimum of like the effort I was going to. It wasn't the maximum. You know, I had a range, like we always do ranges. I had to fight and claw to get the minimum. And I was more proud of that than I was of like a one like Jalisco where I hit all the top end. And that's the kind of one you remember because things didn't feel ideal. But what you had was you had the wits about you to fight for getting it done and just the mental fortitude to just find a way to make it happen, even when your body is saying like, nah, you know, it'd be so easy to just kind of chill and just kind of relax. Mm-hmm. But then you kind of keep going. And because the funny thing about time is that the longer you kind of sit with and deal with it, the other end, obviously the time is less, right? Because if you look at like an hour effort or a 45-minute effort, like as soon as you kind of get over like the halfway point and you think, I'm already more than halfway done. I did halfway, like I kind of got this. Like I rarely ever see someone give up in a long interval close to the end. It's always like the first 50%, not the last 50%. And so I just think when you're going in a race or you're having like these self-doubts, and it's great, obviously it's great to remember like your best long ride, right? Your best long run, your best long swim. And unfortunately, that's also what athletes use as like their best metric for how their race is going to go. They always use their best. They're like, well, my best ride, I average, like 220 for 5 hours. So it's probably what I can do on race day. Dude, that was your best, like your best of the year. You're probably not going to have your better best day of the year on race day. No offense, but you're probably not. So what you need to do is take like the sum of what you're more like. So when we look at athletes rides and we give them power numbers to shoot for, as long as they've been consistent, it's not like, all indoor riding plus one outdoor ride. It's using the same power meter, whatever you want to do, is I don't just look at one ride you did and be like, that's it. That's your number. Because you could have had the worst day you've ever had. You could have had, been slept for 3 hours, had, 9 bowls of, Mexican rice and, bean dip the night before with 4 margaritas, and you had to get up the next day and you didn't have to, you just chose to make bad decisions, but you woke up the next day and did your ride. I'm not going to use that as your numbers for race day, because are you going to do that before race? Well, some of you might, but most of you won't. So you're not going to use that. You're going to use the sum of like 3 or 4, or the average of like 3 or 4 different rides to think, all right, you did 220 here, 205 here, 230 here, 216 here. All right. So taking all those, what do I see is going to be like the more realistic approach to race day? Because the realistic part of race day is that something's going to go wrong, something's not going to feel right, and then you're going to have to sit with it, deal with it, and then also understand that, like, at some point it's going to go away, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that, when you're looking at this time of year you're going to I honestly think you're going to have a rough go of it like once a week. Like, just because if you're doing the majority of your training outside and you're not retreating to just doing all your stuff inside on the treadmill or the train or the pool, you're going to have one workout a week that's just not going to feel good, just because the dew point's 78 or the temperature's 110, or it's just the accumulation of doing multiple runs and rides out in 90-degree heat and not expecting that to take an extra toll. Like, I had an athlete earlier today ask me, why am I running a little bit less right now than normal in a particular part of the build? And I was like, well, because it's like almost August in Texas, and if I had you run 5 or 6 days a week outside, you probably wouldn't be able to bike and swim worth a damn, because you'd be so exhausted and so tired from just your normal run-of-the-mill 40-minute run. That's no longer a 40-minute run stress score, right? Like, that's, like we talked about before, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. And the reason I could honestly care less about your training stress score in Training Peaks is because I could send you out in February with the best temperature ever, and you could run for 45 minutes at a 7-minute, or an 8.5-minute mile pace, and your training stress would be 40. And I could ask you the same exact thing in August, and the training stress score would be the exact same. Is it going to feel like the exact same? Oh, hell no, it's not. It's going to feel like you ran for like 30 minutes longer because of the conditions that you're in. It's just, and again, that's why I think people adhere to that way too strictly. It just takes a lot out of you right now. And that's also why when you see people who are trying to cram, and also in my opinion, the people who choose to make this time of year the time of year where they lose their weight, it's so problematic, because you're under fueling at the absolute worst time of the year. Like, listen, if you're gonna try to reach your at least be in the ballpark of what you want your quote unquote race weight, then try to get within like 2 or 3 pounds of it well before your big build of the year. Because during your big build of the year, more than likely it's going to be in the hottest conditions, right? Where you're going to want to take in a lot of calories, and it's going to be at the highest volume and intensity you're going to do for the entire year. Folks, that is not the time to be cutting calories and cutting corners and starving yourself, because you would rather weigh 170 on race day than 173, because what you want to feel is strong. Now is the time of year to be eating an extra sandwich or two. It's not the time of year to be cutting out extra sandwich. It's time to go eat something. If you're listening to this right now, go to the kitchen, eat something. Pull over to the gas station, grab you some Chex Mix, Bold and Zesty, and eat something. Most people underfuel so unbelievably bad this time of year that it really, really negatively impacts their performance.
Well, we talked about it.
You're smiling. Was I talking to you right now?
Well, no, I never really try to lose weight, like by diet.
No.
Especially when I get going here, because it is weird. Like, I feel like I eat the same kind of year round, and it's a little bit of a binge technique or whatever, but
technique.
Binge technique that I've been working on for many, many years. And yeah, it's weird because I think, we talked about a few podcasts ago that one of the troubles with losing weight is sometimes you don't eat enough. And that's that weird combination, especially now. And especially because I tend to really ramp my swimming up over the, 2 to 3 months going into the race. And I think swimming just really kind of just takes it off for me, you know what I mean? And cycling and of course running. But I think swimming is sort of like that. I always talk about swimming as that thing that really pulls your body together in the, sort of like I can be roly-poly. And I was watching that video, Steve, and I kind of look like I got a little belly going, but I'm not like, I go in and out of that. But it's not like I feel like it's because I was just really eating bad. It's just sort of how I do it. Maybe I'm just getting older, but I feel fortunate because I think as I get closer to the race, that, tends to shed on its own, but I'm not trying to lose it. And I'm certainly feeling probably the more I train towards the end of the year, I feel more energy and better. So whatever I'm doing seems to kind of work, and we'll see if it continues because as you get older and stuff like that, and I haven't raced in 2 years, and I do feel like that's why I'm going to be doing this relay, because it's a good way for me to kind of like at least feel a race. It's been a while.
It's been a minute. Yeah.
For a lot of us. And
I think I'm doing a race in the next month or two, and I think this is the least not focused. This is the most flexible I've been with what I eat. Because what I think I found is that
you're putting it away, dude.
For me, are you trying to say I look frumpy?
No, I don't think you look great. I'm just saying, like every time I look over, you're eating.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm a hungry man. I'm a hungry soul. I'm a growing boy.
I'm like, you want to, do the cat? Hang on, I'm gonna eat a little something. It's like a 4-course meal comes out of the microwave. I'm like, what?
Listen, what I found about myself is that there's only so many things in life you can analyze and stress and want to accomplish. And I'm within the ballpark of where I'd like to be when I race. I'm within a few pounds, just, with still being flexible with what I eat. Because what I found in the past for me is once I get 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 weeks out from a race, the last thing I need to be doing is counting calories. Mm-hmm. Because what happens is I usually can't perform during a ride, or I have to stop. I'm on a run. I get the sugar shakes, and next thing I know, I cut my calories for breakfast. I had a smoothie and a carrot, and then for my snack, I had a rice cake with organic avocado cream on it, and you're running off like no dinner the night before, and you go out for your run. You can't run because you're so depleted. And then you come back in the house and you have like 4 cookies, 1,700 peanut butter pretzels, and 2 glasses of orange juice to get rid of that feeling. You're like, wait a minute, what did I just do to myself? I had a shitty run, so I didn't run well. And then I basically quadrupled the calorie intake I probably should have had today in one sitting, but I'm probably going to have more tonight. Like what I found is that I'd rather ensure that I don't miss a workout and then I feel really, really good going into one, because that's the fitness that I want to have on race day. Not don't want to feel kind of fit, frail, and skinny. I want to feel strong and fast. And I might weigh a 3 or 4 pounds more, but as long as I'm hitting workouts where I feel really good, I'd rather take that feeling of knowing that I hit workouts that I wanted to hit because I felt strong. I didn't cut corners and skimp on calories because I want to, quote unquote, look like a triathlete or look good in my spandex. I want to nail these workouts so I can be fitter and stronger on race day, because that's honestly what I care about. When I get to race day, what I care about is the time on the clock. I don't care about the number on the scale. And I think that is one thing that's disproportionate for a lot of athletes is, and listen, we don't do ourselves any favors. Like you never see any sponsorship, not sponsorship, but like any marketing or commercialized material for products. It's always like, a half naked dude or a half naked chick. They're all ripped. They all look like the 1% of the population. You think, all right, now I got to go put on spandex and walk around with people. That makes me feel kind of insecure. So you have that mentality, or you see people, and I've said this for a long time. One of the first things I noticed when I got into coaching was that runners specifically were more interested in looking like a runner than being a runner, because they associated weight with performance. And that is just, again, going back to like this time of year, it is just something that's incredibly hard to balance. Go eat a sandwich. To yourself, go eat a sandwich. And understand that what's going to propel you the most on race day, ultimately, it is your fitness. It's not how much you weigh. It is your fitness. It is how well you do. And so if it's going to cause you, too much stress, you're trying to count your macros and count this and count that, and it's getting in the way, and you're being too stressed, and you're not performing well in your workouts, then maybe start focusing on performing well in your workouts, eating more before, eating more after, taking care of your body, and just generally, honestly, 90% of people could probably control their diet by monitoring their mood. Am I grumpy? And is it because I didn't eat enough, or is it because I ate like crap, right? And how am I sleeping, right? Because you can't sleep well starving yourself, and you can't sleep well when you gorge.
Yeah, those are really good.
Mood and sleep.
I know, and I'm kind of like, as far as the pre-workout diets or any of the pre-race stuff, and I'm kind of the same way. I'm kind of that ballpark guy. Like, I'll go and get one of those 600 calorie like Danish things, and I feel like I always have a good ride if that's my morning breakfast.
Solid.
I mean, it's like
a big Texas cinnamon roll,
something like that,
Yeah, Pop-Tarts.
But again, I don't know. Like, people ask me all the time, "What's a really healthy breakfast?" And I'm like, I don't know, man. This is just what I eat. It's like when Will Emery told me he ate 3 Pop-Tarts or whatever before a race. Like, it's just safe. It digests really well.
It's safe. It digests. And it tastes good.
But it's like, everybody's going to have oatmeal with the paprika and a few nuts and like a little...
Organic paprika, too.
Whatever.
Sustainably sourced.
And I don't know, like for me, I mean, some people it works oatmeal though. To me, it's like a little dicey on the stomach, man. It could be like pre-race meal.
It takes forever to digest.
It seems like it might.
It's like glue.
So that, and like, that's what I was talking about with, I'm sure that, I mean, a lot of people do vegan and vegetarian diets and race, but the work that goes into actually making sure you're getting enough of this and enough of that, doing all that. That's why I'm just saying, like, that's the thing about like having a steak or something. It's just it's a real safeguard of like covering the bases.
Don't do salmon. I regret, but you do. I even see this a lot of times on at the day or two before a race. You really kind of have you see like 2 different things. You see the hunt and peck, or is on Friday and Saturday. You're like, I've got to have 3 ounces of salmon and 4 whole grain pieces of rice, with a 4-ounce piece of toast with organic certified butter.
It's too risky,
and I have to.
It's too risky.
Salmon's risky. And that's all they can have, right? It's very specific, and they don't eat nearly enough.
I'm like over.
And then you have who walks through the expo, and they're like, "Oh, you got giving away Cliff Bars? I'll try 9." Right? And you go through 9 Cliff Bars, which is like 3,000 calories. You're gorging at the race expo. You're eating all the freebies. It's like walking through free food truckville. I got 6 packs of Jelly Bellies and, sports beans and 2 Cliff Bars and 6 Goose. You know what? I'm going to try this for my, pre-morning ride, and you end up having 9,000 calories in the morning of like straight sugar. Or you the night before you eat at like 10 o'clock and you have 10 different, servings of pasta. Like, those are just not you need to have a happy medium. Which again it's like, that's another thing in life right now. It's like, you can't, it's almost like you're not allowed to have a happy medium. You have to be extreme. You have to be very, 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 very pro or very, 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 very against. Although it's uncomfortable, can't we just straddle the fence on a few things? Can't we just be like, you know what? It's okay for me. We always suggest, if you need to carb load, right? If you need to carb load, then you carb, if you're racing on a Sunday morning, you carb load Friday night. You have pizza, you have pasta, you have, breadsticks. Just do it to it. Take care of business. Load it up, replenish it, top it off. The next morning, Saturday morning, pancakes, potatoes, orange juice, bacon, hash browns, wheat toast, the whole gamut, and then taper food off the rest of the day. Don't just go gorge the night before. And then obviously eat pretzels all day. But that's everybody is so against, and so there's a good and bad for everything basically in life. And so when you're going into races, what's going to make you feel good? If you have to be so strict, and that's why I think ultimately people fail and have so many shortcomings, or start and restart on diets, is because most of them come across so strict that it feels impossible to be successful, because you're limiting and you're taking out so many things that you're it sounds good for a day. I'm going to take away, creamer in my coffee. I'm going to remove all, artificial sweetener. I'm not going to have any saturated fats. I'm not going to, eat anything this. And then you're like, holy hell, like I have to spend 9 hours just finding out what I want from the grocery. Then I have to go to the grocery. Then I have to make it perfectly. And you're like, I'm so stressed right now. My cortisol levels are through the roof. No matter what I do, I'm going to be gaining fat anyway. So what's the point? Like there's just a whole lot to simplicity, and honestly, just like the common sense approach to basically everything in life is just use common sense. Like what seems right or what doesn't seem right. We're all going to make mistakes. You're going to, 80% of the time, eat clean, 20% of the time, eat what you want, and just be smart about it. Don't, flip flop and don't make it 80% you eat like crap, 20% you eat right, because then no matter what, your 20% is not helping, right? Your 20% isn't going to make a difference if all you're doing is eating crappy the entire time.
Mm-hmm. I think that happens a lot too when we try to, that's one of the things I'm trying not to do is pick up too much fitness too fast, that kind of thing. Because I think that's what happens to me is I'll be like, I'm just going to go do it. Because you can tell, man, like if I go to the grocery store after running like further than I should have or trying to do something stupid, I'm in there and I'm just like, I'm daydreaming. And the next thing you know, I haven't been out of the cookie department in like, 10 minutes. Like, just what am I like? Wait, what am I doing? I got to step back. And the other day I went over, it was kind of funny. And I said, hey, do you have the M&M cookies? Because I love those.
Over at Publix?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I was standing by these chocolate chips, and then they had these sprinkly ones or whatever.
Sprinkly.
And she goes, yeah, we do in the back, but they're not 2 for $1. I'm like, oh, these are 2 for $1.
Oh.
And I caved, dude.
You caved hard.
I did.
It's that binge technique you keep talking. It's that binge technique you keep talking about.
Man, I hide them from myself. It's kind of like, the bottle of vodka that you put like
there's
somewhere.
No such thing as hiding it from yourself. Like it's the same people who, it's the exact same thing as when people are like, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set my clock 10 minutes forward because I can always be early. I'm like, bullshit, you are, because you're going to look at that clock and you're going to say, it's 10 minutes fast. It's 10 minutes fast. I got time. Like that's the worst excuse ever.
Occasionally I forget about that cupboard because it's not easy to get to.
I mean, some people do that. They'll just forget about it. I'm like, of course you forgot about it.
Wait a minute. That cupboard opens and I'm like, yes, there's a Pop-Tart in there.
It is. Listen, out of sight, out of mind is the greatest way to be in terms of us, because you're like, that's, you know what? Because then your thought is, well, if I eat it now, it'll be out of the house, right? That's like a
might as well just put it all down.
That's right. That's a classic. That is a classic, response that every human, I think, has gone through when it comes to anything in life. Saturday, Sunday, I'm gonna start my diet on Monday. What's that mean? I'm going to binge your binge technique, eat Saturday and Sunday, all of the shit that's in my house, because you know what? Then it'll be gone. I can't eat more money, so you might as well just eat it now. You want to get out of the way. And then on Monday, what do? You feel like crap. So when you feel like crap, what do you want more of? Crap. For like 1 second or one day, you're like, I'm going to eat clean today. And then you go into too much of a calorie deficit that you end up crashing, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to swing by the pizza parlor on the way home from the day and crush an entire pizza by myself. I used to do the same thing with alcohol. I'm like, all right, I'm so hungover today. I'm not drinking tomorrow, but I can't, and if the vodka's not in the house tomorrow, and if the vodka's not in the house, then I won't drink.
Right.
So you drink all the vodka and you wake up the next day, you're like, I'm so hungover. You know what makes us feel better? More vodka. Let me just go down to the store and grab it. It's like it's that hard, right? To not go to the store and get something, or if you want it, you're going to go get it. But we always rationalize that, and we would talk of this before, is the Monday, I'll start on Monday. No one's ever like, you know what, man, I think I'm going to start next Thursday. No, it was I'm going to start my diet on Monday, January 1st, baby. I'm going to get all together. That's why listen, most people see the most success on January 1st because we all gain 35 pounds in November, December, because we all think, I'm going to start my diet on January 1st. So all caution goes out the window November, December, and we don't do anything. It becomes more apparent what we need to focus on and how consistent we need to be come March and April. When you lose, it was like, listen, man, it's January 1st, started this new, ketotonic, vegan, pro-iron, catabolic, pH balanced diet, and I lost 7 pounds in the first week. And you're like, no shit, you did. Like 4 pounds of it was feces. The last 5 pounds of it was water weight because all you did was drink beer and have cheese dip for like the last 2 months. Of course, you're going to lose a little bit the first month. And then next week, what do you lose? A half pound. And the next week, less than a half pound. And then you're like, F it. Like, I think I'm going to have a pizza today. And then you put on like 4 more pounds and you start with, like, that's what people don't. It's when it comes to like the months that are just fall in the middle, right? Not the Januaries and Decembers, but like, the Marches, the Junes, the July. It's like what happens in the middle. Same thing with training. It's like it's about what you do consistently in life that makes the difference. And it's like one of the we had an athlete that asked in our Zoom call this week, should I go out? What was the phrase he worded it? Because this is so like common with life right now. It is like I think it was like, should I sporadically go out? Once or should I occasionally go outside at the hottest part of the day to heat acclimate? Mm-hmm. And my response was, well, you can't acclimate to anything doing anything occasionally, right? Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as heat acclimating by doing 1 run a week outside. It's like saying, I want to acclimate to altitude. I'm going to go to altitude once a week for a month, and then so you're going to go to altitude 4 days out of the month, and the rest of the day you're going to be at sea level. It doesn't work like that. You're not going to acclimate to anything by doing it once every 7 days. And that's just a huge misconception about I'm going to acclimate to the heat by doing it once out. The rest of the week I'm going to be inside in a 72 degree, temp, or the person that wants to get better at swimming, but wants to go once a week, or wants to get better riding and wants to ride once a week, or wants to get better at running and only runs twice a week. Like, listen, you got to do everything in life consistently to be better at it. You can subscribe and purchase as many shortcuts and hacks and 5 easy ways to get this way in a week or this way. And then guess what? The next week you're going to do? You're going to purchase the same branded thing that says 5 steps and 5 easy ways to get this way. And the next week, you know what you do? Another 5-step routine. The next week's going to be another 10-day routine. The next week, because you know what? None of them work. They're all bullshit because everything that's true. Like that's why hacks and 30 days to this and 2 weeks to that and 7-minute workout here. That's why they're so popular, because their consumer base is multiplied by every single one of them that exists, because every single person has to go, not every single, but so many people go through 19 different ones over the course of the year. Pick something and just get your shit together and stick with it for months and months and months and months and months and be consistent with it. And then good things happen.
I just thought of our next product, actually. It's
what?
called 5 Easy Ways to Break the Hack Habit.
Yeah, it's like, that's like, I think that's what our next Ironman plan is going to be like, get better in 2 years. Sorry for the expos there, but it's like, come on, like, stop trying to purchase the easy way out or like the 10 steps, like the 3 steps to here. Be realistic. Like this conversation I had with Matt earlier, we were talking about another triathlete that I know of that reached out to me like 2 years ago. I was like, hey, I really, really want to qualify for Kona at this specific race, and I think I can do it, and I, at the worst sales pitch ever, I said, listen, man, I know where we are right now, and it's probably going to take us every bit of 3 years to get there. No more conversations after that. Like, people don't want to hear that, but it's just reality. Like, people think you can do everything in like 2 seconds because all they do is see people's success stories, or they see the one guy who was successful on, eating 3 almonds and 4 Tic Tacs and 19 raisins over the course of a 200-mile ultra marathon. And they're like, oh, I think I'm going to go with that. I think I can do that because, this one person, while the rest of the planet is doing things normal, right? And you look at like the professional field and triathletes or anything else, like they do everything like just the common sense way. There's no special anything. The more specialized anything gets, the more it's marketing and commercial and about money than it is about reality and about performance.
Do you think long flights, altitude acclimation?
No.
Like a 20-hour flight or something?
No.
Like that?
And first of all, you're never getting on a 20-hour flight.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like your race
you.
was in St. George, and you kind of flew through Australia. And your connection.
You're obviously talking to 2 guys who never fly. Because, no, you're not going to heat acclimation on a 20-hour flight.
Not heat acclimation, altitude.
It's still not enough to get acclimated to a heat. It's like saying somebody they're going to heat acclimated walking around town for 8 hours on 1 day a week, and then they go back inside and they sit in a 68-degree air-conditioned house for like the next 6 days. It's gone. It never existed. It was just one very tiring day or one absolutely horrifically terrifying 20-hour flight going through Australia to St. George, Utah.
All right. Well,
Oh, God. Listen,
you got something?
I can't believe. Elise, it's my God. Elise is an awesome person, awesome athlete. You and I have both known her for 7 years, an incredible athlete herself.
Incredible.
She was like, "Are you going to talk about the tri battle this week on the podcast?" And I was like, "Do we have to?" And she just sent me like a link. So I think this weekend, Jan Frodeno and Lionel Sanders are basically going head to head in a race. It's not a race; it's an event. Okay, it's an event.
Oh, now they're
Stop
doing
calling
this
it a race.
stuff?
So they're doing it. Listen, I think Jan.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think Jan's doing it just to kind of like. Listen, it's kind of like he's kind of like the guy. He's kind of like taking like his little brother under the wing. He's like, all right, let's play around for a little bit, because basically he just owns Lionel Sanders like too. And this is really going to upset, I know, the Lionel Sanders fanboys and fangirls out there, but this won't even be a contest. Like it might even be embarrassing. Like what
That's what I was going to say is like,
what
okay.
I truly think, and here's my 2 bones to pick with this entire event. One, I'm so uninterested. It's not even funny. I couldn't be more uninterested in watching 2 guys battle it out that aren't even rivals. Like at an Ironman, it's not even close. Like they're not even rivals. 70.3, yeah, maybe, but still, Jan would absolutely demolish him. I think this is about money, as always, right? It's about appearance fees. But I couldn't be any more uninterested in watching 2 guys go ahead. I think Jan is probably going after the Ironman world record, because it's on a contained, like controlled course. I think that's what he's going to go for, and I think obviously his number 1 goal is that. His number 2 goal is to absolutely embarrass Lionel Sanders as much as humanly possible. My third,
he's gonna like
competitors are competitors.
Yeah.
My other pet peeve about this entire event, is that it's overseas and I can't watch any of it if I wanted to, is that if you're Lionel Sanders and your number 1 goal is to win a world championship, which he never has. You can say ITU long distance worlds. I'm like, whatever. That's like the junior Pee-wee league of world championships. If you really want to win a world championship, which he's never done, 70.3 or Kona, if that's really your goal and you haven't qualified for this year, because if he wants to qualify for Kona, he's got to get a slot at Lake Placid, which is next weekend in America. Okay, so this week he's going to do an Ironman in, I think it's like in Germany or somewhere in Europe. Like, how is that conducive to what you really want? Or is it, because I think, in my opinion, Lionel's more obsessed about beating Jan one-on-one than he is about winning a championship.
Where does that even come from? Like, they're
obsession.
not even like in the ballpark.
It's obsession.
It's
like saying Ohio State and Wisconsin are rivals. They're not. It's been a while. It's like saying Tennessee and Florida are rivals. We're not. We haven't beaten them in like 19 years.
Well, but
like,
that's a lot closer than this to me.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm so uninterested in it. I like watching the dynamics of a field that's not staged. And this feels incredibly staged. Like I would rather watch, because even Daytona, you know what the best race I've watched in the last 2 years was? 2 years was? The St. George 70.3, where it was like, it wasn't staged. It wasn't on a one loop like challenged it. Which let me just say something real quick. And I don't mean to be so spicy this late.
No, I'm about to get fired up right now.
Challenge Daytona last year basically owned the triathlon circuit because they put on races. Why in God's green earth did you change your name to Clash? Clash is now their new name for the challenge. It's now Clash Daytona. You know how much interest I have in doing Clash Daytona now? Zero.
Where did that come from?
They rebranded it. They thought it was a great time when you had a lot of name recognition and success to rebrand it as a totally different name that it's unfathomable.
Lord help.
And
Rev, there's your opportunity again. We keep coming back to Rev. It's like,
hey, everyone's talking about Challenge Daytona in this new series. How are you going to do things? You know what's a great idea? Everybody's talking about Challenge. You want to rename it? Bill. Bill's Triathlon. That's what we're going to name it. Like, none of this makes any sense. Like, listen, I'm not a marketing guy. Obviously, you are. You know the ins and outs. I used to be in the business for a long time. Like, I can't think of a worse time to rebrand. Don't you rebrand things when things are going poorly? Like when you're trying to like, when you're like, we need to rebrand ourselves. People only associate this with this with this. We need a total rebranding. Not when things are going spectacular. Like you don't rebrand something when things are going outstanding. Like I don't understand that. Now they're Clash Daytona and Clash whatever. It's saying that. Clash Miami. It's Clash. That's like I don't want to go. It sounds like a state fair. Okay, I don't want to go. And anyway.
Clash.
I know way off like a tangent.
Is that like real?
It's legit.
You've heard of the Clash, right?
No.
Okay.
Clash test dummies?
No, the real Clash.
No. I mean that's usually my outfit, but no, I haven't heard of
the band.
No, it's what 60s, 70s probably. 80s. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, back on that point quickly, because what I feel like's going on in the world is this, and this feels like it too, is like. Remember when WWE was like, you knew it wasn't real.
You mean WWF?
Or WWF changed the WWE. Exactly. They changed it. I don't know if that's a legal thing or whatever. But now I feel like everybody's like, hey, that marketing they used to do is because my buddy tells me, and this may or may not be true, but I believe it is, that the PGA offered like some ungodly amount of millions of dollars to the player or players who could generate the most social media attention. So two of them, the Shambro guy and like another guy, I don't know, Dustin, whatever.
Dude, you're asking.
Yeah, I know.
You're asking the wrong guy.
But they started
social
like
media thing.
John at each other. They're friends, but now they're doing this thing where they're like, ripping on each other and all this shit.
Dude,
and I'm just like, I don't believe in anything anymore.
Clicks. And next thing you know, they're going to call it Clash Golf.
Yeah.
And go through a whole rebranding.
Who knows, man? The whole thing is just a joke. Whatever happened to just putting out a good product, man?
Preaching to the choir. That's what we try to do twice a week.
I got to be honest, like, a lot of times, like I am from a marketing background and I was in the marketing when it was kind of still marketing or like it was sort of like
somewhat barely genuine.
Yeah, barely genuine. Yeah, that's a good way. It's sort of like back almost like it was at the same time when I was in the news, when news still had sort of like it was kind of a little bit of a trust, but then it became the marketing leading the whole thing. It's like whatever marketing says, then we have to do it. So the whole newscast was like this jokey, like bunch of bullshit that they just cooked up to hit the buzzwords of the marketing.
It's all about money, dude.
And it's just dumb. But I mean, I don't know.
Just wake up tomorrow and start a podcast for free. That's what we did.
Yeah.
Next Monday, we'll offer you Crushing Iron Clash podcast number 496.
Clash.
God, what are you thinking? My God, I'm not a marketing guy. Anyway, so if you want to watch the Tri Battle, watch it. My prediction is Lionel DNFs. I think he's there for the appearance fee and goes back overseas.
He can't get paid if he DNFs.
I bet you he does appearance fee. He'll DNF. People do it all the time. Pros do it all the time.
Is it? It's not
I think
like
it's put on by Swift. I don't know.
Is it a one-on-one deal?
I think it's ridiculous.
Is it like that?
Legit one-on-one.
Silly. What was it? The marathon
all that matters
thing
is all that
where the guy broke the world record in the marathon, and he's got like it was downhill with the wind behind him. It was like controlled track, and Nike put it on that thing.
I don't want to try. I don't know.
Like, are you going to count this if it's a world record?
No.
I mean, why do they do that stuff?
You kind of money and attention.
Doesn't anybody have anything
better to do with their
integrity about? I mean, seriously.
Hey man, you ain't gotta tell me. But no. Anyway, before we go off on the other tangents, we'll cut it off here at 58 minutes in. We love you. We hope you have an awesome week. We hope you enjoyed the last 10 minutes of what it sounds like to be in our office, basically for 8 hours, 8 hours a day. We're not dug deep in trainings. We have an awesome weekend. If you want info on the camps that we do, the coaching that we provide, and the community that we offer, you can go to our website. It's c26triathlon.com, and is our one-stop shop for all those things. Again, you can follow us on Instagram, C26Triathlon, or just search Crushing Iron. Our very awesome and energizing Facebook group is Crushing Iron Group. Answer a simple question, we'll let you in there. And if you have any questions about anything and everything, you can email Mike. He is at crushingiron@gmail.com. If you need anything from me, I'm at c26coach@gmail.com. And for those of you doing Ohio 70.3 next weekend, we look forward to seeing you there. That's all I got, man.
That's it. I'm looking up the Clash logo.
Oh, stop, man.
I'm gonna get you a T-shirt that looks like this,
God.
dude. See it?
Yes,
Clash.
Sure.
Come on, check it out.
God.
You like that
This looks
logo?
like something Hayden would have made at a camp today.
That's so.
No, honestly, you know what it looks like? And we'll close. It looks like the what do they call that? Like the type of lettering, what do they call that? The graphic, like the font.
Yeah.
It's like, it looks like the font of a very, very, very low budget wrestling federation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks terrible, but good luck. Good luck with it.
All right, that's all we got. We'll
come back to you. We'll come back to you on Monday with more.
see ya.